All right, welcome to another episode of the Entrepreneur Insider Secrets podcast. This episode, we're going to be talking about building an evergreen sales strategy for your business. Now, this is something, evergreen sales strategies are kind of like the holy grail of your business. If you can get an evergreen sales strategy up and running and working for your business, you're in. It's officially go time. You are officially going to be making more money than you could ever dream possible. You're going to be having more success than you ever dreamed could happen. Things are going to start happening for you in ways that, this is the dream of what you were hoping for. So first of all, let's talk a little bit about what is an evergreen sales strategy. What is that? Now, an evergreen sales strategy is really a system that generates consistent sales for your business without relying on one-time launches or sales or special promotions. So what essentially it means is that you are generating income, you are generating sales, you're generating revenue, things are coming in all the time in your business, kind of on autopilot. It's just you have a system and a method and almost a machine in place that is just generating cash flow for you day after day after day. And when this happens, and this happens all the time in a small business. This is absolutely people who do well, people who set up their businesses well, do get to this point, and eventually the business almost starts running itself. You can bring in people, hire people for certain roles to take certain sets of responsibilities, and the business is just cranking, and they're taking care of that work, and this person's taking care of that responsibility, and the thing is just kicking out cash flow. It's just kicking out money, and bam, there you go. It's all taken care of. It's all working, and you as the owner are sitting there just kind of collecting checks and taking care of things. So what I want to talk about today is how do you build something like that? How do you get to that holy grail type moment in your business? Because this is the goal that so many business owners have. Like, if you can get to this, you're living the dream, because you're earning the income that you want, or you can keep scaling beyond to get even higher and higher income. And you're not having to kill yourself. You're not having to be the person doing everything. You're not having to be the person who manages every little step of the process, because the business is starting to just take care of itself and run on its own. So again, the benefits of all this is that you have a predictable and stable income stream. You know that this thing, as long as it keeps working, is going to generate a good, healthy income for you every single day. And sometimes the income from it is rather large. I'm just going to be honest. If you get this set up well and you have good profit margins, you can set up income that is quite large for you, and it just happens daily. And again, this is a lot less stressful, as you can imagine. If you have a machine in place that's just constantly generating new leads, constantly generating new customers, you don't have to sit there and stress, okay, we got to do another launch. We got to go out and do another special promotion because we need more customers again. We got to hustle. Go get another round of customers. Okay, we got those. Well, that's great, but now we need some more. Okay. And that's a very stressful way of doing it. That launch approach of constantly launching, constantly doing launches to get your product sales going, it's exhausting after a while, because pulling off a launch is a lot of work. It's a lot of work to get the thing going and get things rolling and going. And it just becomes very stressful. And what if one of your launches doesn't go well for some reason? There was a problem. There was a technology issue. Now, all of a sudden, you're dealing with, a hole in the revenue stream. So, and what this does is just allows for this, then once you get this in place, it allows you to start having a foundation on which you can build and go further if you choose to. If that's what you want, if you want to, like, okay, this is amazing. This is great. This is cooking. This thing's like a machine kicking out money all the time. Now I want to figure out how can I leverage it and scale it and go even further. So here's some of the things that we need to know is, even though the business largely will run on its own, it doesn't mean it's a complete set it and forget it. You can't, no business should ever have no one watching it. No business should ever have no one paying attention to it. You need to know how the business is operating. You need to monitor it and make sure, like, okay, and we'll talk about this a little bit later, to know, like, okay, is something going off? Is the machine starting to break down? Is this process that we've created to create customers starting to struggle a little bit? Do we need to make a couple adjustments here or there? But you're now in the fine tuning and tweaking mode, as opposed to the mode of I need to do all these things. I need to rework everything and start everything over from the beginning all the time with a new launch. No, you can do this, and you just have to do a lot of fine tuning and tweaking, which is a lot less stressful than relaunching every single time every few weeks. And another thing that's important is you still need an urgency. You still need urgency in the process to get people to sign up. So if you have a situation, you have a process where people can sign up at any time, and you're always open and your doors are always open for business, the advantage of having a launch model is, oh, okay, if you want to join, you need to sign up right now. Well, if you're not doing that and you're having it open all the time, then how do you get urgency? How do you get people to sign up now? And so you have to come up with ways to get people to say, oh, no, I need to do this now. I can't wait 6 months, because that will then become one of your challenges that you have to overcome, is people will say, well, I want to do this and this is amazing, but I'll do it 6 months from now, which, again, as we all know, people will tell you I'll do it 6 months from now, never do it, because they never take action, because people who are not action takers, they just don't do things. So let's start off by talking about some of the key components that go into building. How do you build this? How do you build an evergreen system in your business? So something that works over and over and over. Well, the first step that you really need to focus on, the thing that you need to create first and foremost, is an offer. Okay. You need to create an offer that converts. You need to find whatever that offer is that's going to get people to go, wow, this is, yes, I will buy that right there. I will buy it. That's what I want. That's what I want to do. That's how I want to go. I want to go down that path. Yep, I will buy it. That offer is amazing. I want to do it. And so you need to have that figured out first. And until you have an offer where people will buy this. Yep. When I offer this, people will say yes and people will buy it. Absolutely, 100%, no question. They will 100% buy this offer. And when you do that, now you have something to work with. Until you get that offer out there in that way, so that people are definitely saying yes, that people are definitely saying, yep, I want this, I'm going to buy this, and you've proven that, then don't go try and go evergreen. You need to first and foremost get an offer put in place. And this is one of the most critical things for your business in general, is you need to have an offer in place that people want. And so this is going to require some testing. You're probably going to have to do some launches in the beginning, some product launches, to test your offer, to get your offer out there, to figure out what is it that people will say yes to, what is it that people will engage with, and what is it that people will do to become part of the customer base. So you got to figure that out. And you got to implement a pricing strategy that's going to work for you on a long-term basis. So what does it take to get that sale? Do you need to have salespeople on calls doing conversations with your future customers to get them to say yes? Is it just more of do a presentation? All of those things affect your pricing, because if you have to have salespeople on calls talking to people about how to get them to say yes, well, then you need to pay commissions to those salespeople. So that's going to affect your pricing. So there's a lot of things in here. You need to figure this out. What does it take to get customers on a regular basis to say yes? So that's your first hurdle. What offer? What do I need to come up with as an offer to get people to yes? If I can figure that out, and many times it's just about tweaking what you're doing. It's not, and I see this a lot. People think, well, I tried this and I offered this service and I offered that, and people just didn't buy. And what you have to understand, it may not at all be that what you're offering is bad. Because people say all the time, what I'm offering is amazing. I'm giving people so much. What I'm doing is incredible, and they're just not biting. It may not be that your offer itself is a bad offer. It may be a really good offer. You just need to tweak a few elements in how you're offering it, the method in which you're offering, because the things that you put out there, the way that you're presenting it, the way that you're laying it out in front of your potential customer may not be exactly what they need to make a decision. May not be exactly the process that they need. So what you need to think about is, it may not be that what you're doing, the problem that you're solving, the solution that you're providing isn't incredibly valuable. That may not be the problem at all. It may just be as how it's being received and how you're presenting it to them. So this is going to take some tweaking. This is going to take some fine tuning. That's why you probably need to try it a few times. You need to test it. You need to get out there. But eventually, if you stay with it, you will figure it out. Like, oh, okay, I need to present it like this instead of that. It's like any person. I was talking to my neighbor yesterday, and he was talking about his early days in his career, and he used to sell copiers for Xerox. And it was literally, he worked in downtown Chicago, and he would have, like, what he's saying, he said a 4-block, 4 blocks that was his to sell into. And in those 4 blocks, there were skyscrapers. And so I said, first thing, you think 4 blocks, that's not a lot. Well, when you're downtown and there's skyscrapers and there's 30 to 40 to 50 floors per building, yeah, you got plenty. You got plenty of buildings to go through. And so he was like, yeah, I would just ride elevators all day. I would just ride the elevator up and down and just try and go from one to the next and knock on doors. But what ends up happening is, when you first start out doing that, you're trying to meet with people, you're trying to stop in and talk to people. And a lot of people would be like, no. And you realize after a while, maybe if I don't say it like this, but I say it like that. Maybe when I introduce myself, instead of saying this, I say that. And then you realize, oh, well, now people are starting to talk to me more. Okay, so don't introduce myself like that. Do it this way. And start the conversation like this instead of that. And you start to learn the methods. And that's what he did. He said, yeah, it was very hard at the beginning because I didn't know exactly what I was doing. And I didn't know how to get people to talk to me and how to get people to say yes. But I kept trying and I kept learning and I kept growing and I kept realizing, hey, if I do it this way, this works. Okay. So now I've learned not to do those things and not to say those things, but just keep saying these things. And eventually he built that into a 20-year career where he was an executive within the company because he just learned the skill. And the same thing is going to be true for you if you go out and start marketing your service. You're going to get some no's at the beginning. You're going to get some people to say no, no, no. And you're going to be like, you're kidding me. This is an amazing offer. I'm offering you so much and you're not jumping. But what you just have to figure out is the how. How do I need to position this? How do I need to say this in such a way that the people on the other side will see the value and say, wow, I have to do this. I need to buy this. I need to be a part of this. This is amazing. And you need to have that system structured in such a way that the pricing of what you're offering is going to cover the expenses and everything and leave you with an adequate profit and to make this system go. And it's going to be affordable for the client and yet profitable for you as the business owner. So there has to be that balance in there. So first and foremost, figure out what is the offer. What is it that's going to get people to say yes? From there, now you got to figure out, how do I get a regular stream of leads to hear my offer? Okay. Now that I have an offer that I know people are saying yes to, like, okay, first step was I get the offer figured out. People are saying it when I talk to people, and maybe you talk to people one-on-one and you're having those conversations and people are starting to say yes. And you're like, okay, I got it. I figured it out. This right here, this offer is what people are going to say yes to. Great. Fantastic. This is perfect. I got it. People are now joining my program. People are now saying yes to my coaching or to whatever it is that I'm doing, my events that I'm putting together, because they're seeing it. They're seeing the value and they want to do it. Now, how do I get more and more people to talk to? So now that we have an offer that we know people will say yes to, how do I get more people? So you see how this becomes very logical. Now I got to figure out how to get more people. And it's about, how do I generate more leads, and how do I generate them in a cost-effective way? And so there's lots of ways of doing this. Right now I'm using an Eventbrite strategy where I'm doing trainings on Eventbrite, which is a platform I haven't used in years. And we are generating leads at an incredibly cost-effective rate. The leads that we're generating on there are just so cheap and so cost-effective that it's like, wow, I haven't seen leads this cheap in probably 15 years. And so we're getting amazing results on the lead generation and all that. And so you have to figure it out. How do you get people to come hear you? How do you get people to come willing to talk to you? Because if your sales process is people need to come and schedule a call with me, once I have a call with them, then we talk about, how to take a next step and maybe hire me as their coach or hire me for whatever service I'm providing for them. We need to have that process figured out. How do I get those conversations started? How do I get people interested in that? And, a good way to do it a lot is to go in, get on it and do a free training somewhere and give a presentation where you're helping people and solving a lot of their problems. And at the end, offer the ability for them to get on a call with you to find out, learn more about potentially working with you and having you work with them to get the results that they're after. And so these are all the things. Like, again, you got an offer now that converts. That you're offering something that people will say yes to, and it's at a price that's palatable for you and for the customer. You found that range. If I charge this rate, I can afford to still do this, and it makes me decent money, and that's still within the range that people will say yes to. And the other side of it is, I'm now getting leads, and I'm getting people to say yes, and I'm getting people to sign up all the time to have conversations, and getting people all the time to sign up to hear more about what I'm doing, and I'm doing so in a very cost-effective way. Great. You have that. Now, one of the other keys to getting people to say yes, when we're using an evergreen strategy, where we're using a strategy, we're wanting to get people to say yes over and over and over, a constant stream of customers coming in. So it's not just this, well, I did a big launch, I got, a handful of customers, that's great, but now I have no new customers until I do another launch. Okay. That's, when we're trying to get customers every single day, one of the key aspects is how do you incentivize them to say yes today instead of saying, yeah, I'll do it in 6 months? Okay. I get it, and people will do that. But if they don't feel any urgency, if they don't feel any pressure to join today, then, they won't. Many of them will just kick the can down the road and say, oh, I'll join down the road later. And later means never. Always remember that. When they say later, they're just not going to join because they're not committed to doing this. They're not excited enough. So how do you do that? Well, there has to be, there's, the carrot or the stick approach. And one of the ways is if you join now, we're giving everyone who joins now the following 5 bonuses. And that can be true. Like if you join now, you get the following 5 bonuses. And if you join in 6 months, well, sorry. And suddenly that person's sitting there going, oh, wait, what? You're giving all these things away now? If I join right now, and if I hire you now as my coach or to work with you now, okay, well then I shouldn't wait 6 months. I should do it now. Or maybe you're having some type of we're closing we're not taking in, you could say like, I'm only taking on 10 new clients right now. That's what I have capacity for. I can serve 10 more clients right now. And if you don't sign up now, well, then it could be a long time before I, have capacity to take on another client. So either say yes now, or I don't know if I'll be able to help you in the future. Okay, well, now you see how those things, and if you structure your business correctly, you structure your business in a way that works and makes sense, then all of a sudden there's some pressure on an evergreen basis for people to join. You're offering incentives, you're limiting access, you're doing different things and saying, okay, If you want to be one of the people that we work with, then we're only taking 5, we're only taking 10. You got to do it now, or you're missing out. And then we're moving on to the next person, and that's that. And so there's this way of doing it. But when you're selling things on an evergreen basis, scarcity and urgency are incredibly important, because people will always say, well, I won't buy it today, I'll buy it later. I won't join today, I won't hire you today, I'll hire you later. I'll do it in a few months. Well, that will kill your business. If people are sitting there constantly saying, well, I'll do it later. I'm not ready now, I'll do it later. Well, later is never, and you can't run a business that way. You have to get people to start taking action, start taking steps. And as well as I do, that if they don't do it now, they're probably never going to take the steps, and they're never going to solve their problem. And in your heart that you can help them solve their problem, and in your heart you can get them there and help them become successful, but only if they start working with you and get things going. If they don't, they're just going to stay stuck where they are. And this is not going to work. This is not going to be successful for you. You need to take this step, and you need to do this. So I need to incentivize you to move now. Otherwise, I know what's going to happen. It's not good for me because I'm not making sales, and it's not good for you because you're going to remain stuck. So we need to incentivize the process. We need to set up the sales process in such a way so that it incentivizes people to take action now. Now, those are really the 3 main things for it. And if you get those 3 things going well, and you have your process in place, you can start generating leads and sales on an evergreen basis. That right there will do it for you. And I know it sounds simple, but it really is. Those are the key elements. And then once you get that in place, what do you need to do from there? It's all about optimizing things, because from one time to another, you may get a little bit different. You may get a little bit of a different result. Like, we have this all the time where we were running these promotions, and sometimes we would, have really cheap leads, and the next time the leads would be more expensive. And you're like, well, I didn't do anything different. I did basically the exact same thing. And so it doesn't always, you have to understand, there's not going to be a set number that you're always going to pay for leads. It's going to have some variance. And sometimes you're going to do a promotion and you're going to get 5 sales. Sometimes you're going to get 10. And you're going to be like, what happened? Well, there's a range. And you're going to have to understand this is going to kind of go up and down. But as long as your results are landing within a certain range, as long as those results are landing within a certain range of acceptability, you're fine. But you need to be able to track what's happening. You need to have some data in there to monitor and understand. Like, all of a sudden, the cost to generate a lead went from $5 to $20. Whoa, wait, hold on. That's now a problem. That, our cost to generate a lead just went up by 4 times. And so you need to have systems in place that are monitoring that. And if you have a couple salespeople who are on commission helping to sell people into your business, and they were generating 1 out of every 4 leads into a customer, and now they're generating 1 out of every 10, whoa, hold on. Now all of a sudden this isn't working so well, and you're not as profitable, and you're not making as much money, and your salespeople aren't happy because they're not making as much money. So you need to have data. You need to be tracking and monitoring the rates, the key, what they call as key KPIs, or key performance indicators. You need to know what are the main numbers, the main ratios, the main percentages that I need to be monitoring. And I need to know that those numbers stay within a certain range of acceptability. And as long as they do, great. You're fine. You're rolling. You're doing great. You're not having any problems within the acceptable range. Sometimes it'll be a little higher. Sometimes it'll be a little lower. There's no real magic to it. It's just the nature of business. But you want to know that it's going to stay in that range, because if it doesn't, now all of a sudden you're staring at a problem, and the mechanism and the machine for generating all these sales is starting to struggle, is starting to break down. And now you're going to have to go back and look at it and go, where do I need to make some changes? Where do I need to make some adjustments? Where are things falling off? How do I make it better? And so you can test and try new different things. Like, maybe if your ads are getting too costly to generate leads, maybe you need to try some fresh ad creatives. Maybe those ads are getting a little old and stale, and you need to try some new things. It's time to try some new images, some different things to try and promote your services, or maybe you need to try a new landing page to sign people up as leads, or maybe there's something in your sales process that's not, or that changed and it's not working well, and you need to evaluate what's going wrong, what happened, why are we not doing as well. And so and you need to just keep track of those things and understand where are we breaking down, where are we going, because as long as you're staying within that range, man, you're golden, and you can, but you just need to keep your finger on the pulse, but this is where it comes from. Instead of working your absolute tail off to do launches and doing all these things, you're just kind of watching the numbers on a daily basis. Okay, yep, we're good here, we're good here, we're good here, all the numbers are good, and you could spend a half hour looking over all the numbers, and as long as the numbers are good, you're done for the day. Which is why I said earlier, the evergreen approach is the dream and the holy grail for most business owners, is because you're now earning income and that your workload just went down dramatically. But it doesn't mean it's zero. You have to monitor things, and you have to know how to make adjustments if something starts going off, and you need to test all that. And you may want to start to do some things to optimize some things, and you realize, hey, we're gonna start targeting a specific type of prospect, and maybe you create a landing page that's separate to get people to sign up, that's specifically targeted to maybe just teachers. You decide, I think we could have some real success working with teachers, or maybe you're like, maybe I would have some specific success targeting stay-at-home moms. Okay, great. Well, then maybe you create a landing page where where people go to sign up, and maybe you create that in such a way that it's customized to them and speaking just to teachers, or it's speaking just to stay-at-home moms. Suddenly, like, they're feeling like, oh, this is really for me. This is specific, and you can have one for each. And maybe your leads, when you're running your ads, it's only targeting, that set of ads is only targeting teachers. This set of ads is only targeting stay-at-home moms. And so you're customizing it, and you're making the process feel much more dialed in and specific and perfected for that prospect. They're like, oh, this is exactly what I need. This is tailor-made for me. So that's a way that you can start to scale things. You can start to have different ways of generating leads based on your target demographic. You could say, I know that the people that I serve are in this, or this space. They usually work at one of these 3 jobs. They're this type of person. So I can create 3 separate landing pages that target each one of them. And I can then send my leads customized to each one of those pages. Each one of those leads feels very special. They feel like it's all customized for them. They feel like things are being tailor-made for them. They're getting exactly an offer that's made exactly for their situation. So my ability to get them to say yes and to sign up and to learn more and to potentially get on a sales call goes up, because they're feeling like, wow, this is exactly what I need. And then from there, you can, once you really get this optimized and things are really going well, now you can just start scaling up. Instead of having 2 salespeople on commission bringing in customers for you, you can bring in 4, because you're not paying them any money unless they make a sale. And this is a very common way. So instead of having 1 person there or 2 people there, and again, this is how it typically works, is you don't pay the salespeople an hourly rate. You pay the salesperson only a commission if they make a sale. So if they're not selling, you're not paying them anything. You're not losing anything. But once you get the system in place, and if they're a good salesperson, you're both happy, because they're getting quality leads. They're getting to sell, which is what they like to do. And they're making really good money. And you're happy because you have a process where the customers are just coming in daily, and you're not even having to do it. You just pay out the commission, and you got a new customer, and you're making money. And so it's a win-win. And then when you have that, then you start, well, let's, instead of running this amount of dollars worth of ads every day, let's double it. Instead of going from $100 a day, let's go to $200 a day in ads. Instead of having 2 salespeople on call to take calls from customers, let's have 4. And then you go from 200 to 400 a day, and 4 to 8 salespeople. This is how the growth happens. This is how, when you have the system in place, when you have all the pieces in place, all of a sudden the sky's the limit and your income can become unlimited. And this is where people who start off in the garage with very little and just a dream end up becoming multi-millionaires and become insanely rich because they built the system and the system starts working. And then once the system is in place, they just start scaling it up and building it up. And so it's an amazing way. Like I said at the beginning, this is truly the holy grail that most business owners dream of. It is they've put something out there, they've created an offer, created a business that is incredibly valuable, that they're passionate about, that they've put an offer together that the customers want. And now they got a system for generating leads, a system for getting customers on a daily basis. And they put the people in the places to do these things. And now they're in the, they can work in the business as much or as little as they want. But people are coming in and they're buying and everybody's happy and things are just happening and happening and happening. And the system kind of just takes care of itself. And so the message I just want to leave you with as we wrap up this one for today is that creating a business that's evergreen, creating a business that's constantly bringing in customers isn't luck. It isn't something that some people just got lucky. They had the right idea. They were in the right place. And I'm not saying that those things are not relevant, that they're not important, that people being in the right place doesn't help, or people having a great idea doesn't help. But building the structure, there are so many people out there who have great business ideas. They have great talent. They're incredibly gifted at what they do, but they have no idea how to put these simple things in place. And because of that, people never find out about what they do. People never experience what it is that they have to offer. And as a result, the business never takes off and it never scales and it never goes anywhere. And these are the things that we try and help people with at Design Launch Grow. We try and help people understand how to build their business, how to do these things, because, if you do this and if you learn these skills and if you can learn how to build a business so that you have these systems in place, you have the offer, you have this process to generate sales, and you get the people in place to start doing some of these things for you, you've got the goose laying golden eggs every day. And I've been there. It's an amazing feeling. It's an amazing process to just sit there and just watch your bank account fill up, and you're doing the things that you want to do. You don't have to be involved in all the nitty gritty all day unless you really want to be. And you're suddenly earning income that you never dreamed was even possible. And a lot of people even do this. They just even turn the whole business over to the people that work for them, and they don't even hardly do any work on it at all. I know of one gentleman right now who owns a business that's doing well over $10 million a year. He's one of my friends, and his daily thing is he's becoming a rancher. Nothing to do with his business. His business is completely different, but he's made so much money and he has people running the entire business for him that he checks in like an hour a day with how things are going, makes a few tweaks or changes as adjustments as needed. Great. He goes back to being a rancher now. He bought some land and he's doing all that, and he's having the time of his life, like a little kid riding around on tractors all the time, and he has some cows, and he's just thinking he's living his best life. And so he's loving it and doing what he wants to do. And he's making more money than I don't even want to know. I don't even want to know how much money he's making. It's a lot. I know that. And like I said, I love my friend and I'm very happy for him. But it's fun watching him because he's done exactly what I'm talking about here. He's built that evergreen business. So this is 100% possible for you. This is 100% within your reach, but you got to have the systems and the processes in place. It is not chance. It is not luck. It is just hard work. And takes grit to trial and error some things. It takes grit to be willing to try some things and to be able to say, okay, I tried that and it didn't work, but I'm going to keep trying. I'm going to keep going because ultimately I know where I'm going. I'm going to create this evergreen business that's amazing, that's doing great things for my clients and generating incredible cash flow for myself. And when you can get this foundation in place, when you can do these things, you're going to be living a life you didn't even think was possible. So that's it for this episode. That's just giving you a taste of what it can be. If you'd like help with all of this, putting it all together, check out designlatchgrow.com. We would love to help you, would love to work with you. Otherwise, have an amazing rest of your day, and I will talk to you again very soon.